Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Peter and this is going to be my showcase of the new indie title Guns of Icarus Online. Another title which I'm going to do a review of, which is in its beta stage, it's not released yet. And yes, it's another small one. And yes, it's another one that I thoroughly enjoy because, funnily enough, I only do showcase videos of games that I have found and really enjoyed. I am incredibly excited about this title. I genuinely can't express that enough for you guys. It's one of the most enjoyable games I've played in a very long time, and during the beta weekend, which I just was lucky enough to take part of, I cannot tell you how much fun I had, especially when I got together with a crew and actually started doing some really organised gameplay over TeamSpeak, and that footage I will be uploading in the next wee while, and it'll be in another video which hopefully you'll enjoy after watching this little showcase. So basically, as you can probably see in the background, Guns of Icarus Online is a steampunk, team-based airship combat game. So yeah, you've never heard of that before. It is another genre buster. It's a fantastic game. You have one of three roles. You have the captain, who's usually the leader, the one who pilots the ship and designates, the important tasks for the rest of the crew. You have the engineer and you have the gunner. Speaking of which, the 4 airships which you can choose from, sometimes they have crews of 4 instead of 3, which means you'll have usually 2 engineers or 2 gunners. So it's not specifically classed, and later on they're thinking of adding larger airships, so you actually do have more than just 4 people or 3 or 4 people on the ship. So yeah, back on track. Everyone has a job to do. No one is going to be sitting, and I guarantee you will not be bored. There is at no point in the game will you be sitting around doing nothing. The captain is the strategist, the tactician, the thinker. He pilots the ship around. I can't flatter myself too much here because it's my favourite role and I will get teased for it. But basically, he's usually the one that gives out the commands in terms of, hey look, there's a ship over there, do you mind hopping onto the right gun to shoot it? That sort of thing, and maybe, giving the engineer a little hint, for instance, if the balloon is on fire. So, then swiftly moving on, you have the engineer who, due to a fantastic system they have, the repairing system for all of the different weapons and engines and balloons and hull of the airships, it's actually a really difficult job. It's a minigame of itself, and it's a complicated minigame. I mean, when you're taking a lot of damage, the engineer really has to prioritize which components to repair first and run around frantically. It's a stressful position, and finding a good engineer is actually quite a difficult thing to do. I was fortunate when I was I found quite a good one to roll with in my crew later on. And lastly, you have the gunner. Now, while the gunner doesn't have as much of a mind-based job as the other 2 crew members, he does have a very difficult skill-based job. All he has to do really is switch from gun to gun and sit on those guns and destroy the enemy airships. So yeah, he has a lot of fun, and as a captain I tended to forget that I had a gunner until he ended up destroying an airship, which I totally wasn't expecting, which you'll see in the other gameplay video I had. But all the classes are very flexible. For instance, the captain and the gunner do have less able but still very efficient repairing tools, so they can't do it as fast as the engineer. However, they can repair, just if need be, if the engineer is really down in his dust and he's got hundreds of things on fire and the ship's falling apart, yeah, the other 2 can lend a hand. Likewise, anyone can take control of the ship if the captain, for instance, has hopped on a gun and you're about to crash into a column of rock. And anyone can hop onto a gun as well, as you probably just saw demonstrated. So, in the gameplay in the background, you'll see me. I think I was originally running around as a gunner, and then I swapped out into the captain role, and to be honest, I spent most of the weekend in the captain role. You'll find that with most players, they find a class they enjoy and they'll stick to it, because once you've become good at a class, you tend to perform better, and in a team-based environment game like this, it's actually better if you do stick to the classes that you enjoy and that you find the most rewarding. And you would think most players would just hop on and go, "Oh, I want an airship to myself, I want to be a captain." But in reality, the people who are good at captains and they tend to stay it, because a lot of people hop onto Captain the first time and find it complicated, find they don't really enjoy it, and find they just prefer to sit on the gun, because actually running around the airship gunning and engineering is a very, very fun job, and a lot of people do enjoy it. So that's the 3 classes done. The game ships with 1 mode, however it will eventually expand into 2 different modes. The mode you're seeing at the moment is called Skirmish, which is basically a team-based combat game. You've got all the different different deathmatch and team deathmatch and conquest and domination, those sorts of game types, and yeah, it works really well for the game. They've customized it so it's airship based. I found it works really well. They are fun. You just hop in with a team and play. The largest fight, unfortunately, due to the small game and just the beta weekend, was, I think we had about 4 airships in each team, and that was just incredible. Very, very fun. I just can't express how much I enjoyed these matches. They've just, even with 1 airship on 1 airship, it was just a really great game. So yeah, that's the skirmish side, where you just literally hop on, choose your airship, customize which weapons and loadout it has. You can customize your avatar a little bit, and that's you rolled in. The other side of the game, which will come in after release, probably as a paid downloadable expansion or downloadable content, will be adventure, which is basically taking the battles from Skirmish and putting them into a persistent world. It's going to be a map-based world, so away from your persistent, open MMO type world. It's more, for instance, I think it'll be more like if you've played the Mount and Blade series, the campaign map, and then moving into a battle screen, that sort of thing. However, this world will have factions. It'll have trade routes. You can be a merchant instead of just a gun busting pirate, or be part of your faction's navy. A thing to note on the factions actually is that they're all in game already. They aren't made by players. Excuse me. So yeah, it has worked for games like PlanetSide 2. So I think for this type, it actually will pay off, and I think it'll be a really rewarding experience. Maybe there's some faction loyalty and the diplomacy and wars going on, because the factions will be run by the players as well. So yeah, I love sandbox MMOs. I think it's a great idea, and as demonstrated with EVE Online and other such titles, they can work very, very well. So, all you steampunk lovers, this is the game for you. It's going to be fantastic. And another thing to note on the skirmish and on the adventure side is the huge customization you have. You can choose weapons to customize your ship at the moment, from flamethrowers to howitzers to grappling hooks to Gatling guns, all of their different characteristics and ammunition, and what they do best on the enemy ship. For instance, Gatling guns are fantastic at taking out the enemy's balloon. So that's that, but you can also I think they're thinking of ways of customizing your actual airships, giving you more airships to choose from, and for instance, you will have a huge amount of possibilities when customizing your own character. I assume this because of some mentions in the some comments in the forum, and also things that they've been saying, and also a button called Store in the beta, which I saw, which I think will lead to some sort of microtransaction system. So correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but I think that could be very, very fun to get your character out to look as steampunky and as personal as you want. So the reason I didn't mention very much about the adventure mode is because not too much information has been released. There have been a lot of promises in terms of we will try to get this in, but as they're a small indie company, nothing's for definite, and I don't want to get everyone's hopes up and actually end up being wrong. Basically, I would advise you to check out all the links I've got in the description, check out the forums, look at what they're trying to do. I'll get, for instance, a couple of the things they want to try and get in are fighters, sort of heavier than air aircraft going along with the airships, and boarding actions. Like, it all depends on whether they have the resources and times to get them in the game, but they are genuinely really wanting it, so they're going to try after release to maybe add it in. So yeah, done the customization. Currently the game is available for pre-order, which will probably get you some early access to the game. They're thinking of maybe getting it out around August time. However, there will be beta weekends and early access for those who need it before then. Currently, and forever actually, don't know why I said currently, the game will only have multiplayer. It's an online game in a persistent world. Adventure or skirmish is always online, always team-based, and this game would not be the same without players. You got to hate them, you find the friends, you find a good crew, and then you love the game. It works perfectly when you're actually working together, using tactics, and enjoying yourself. I mean, playing this on your own wouldn't work, so unfortunately there's not going to be any single player, but for people who love bots and AI, I highly recommend you start talking to real folks. They are quite interesting. So yeah, conclusion. I don't want to make this video too long. All the information's there. I've had an incredible time over the beta weekend. I can't recommend this game enough. I was really looking forward to it after watching some footage on YouTube. When I actually got my hands on the game, it blew my mind. It's better than I thought it could be, and I had very high expectations. And that was only a very laggy, buggy beta, because obviously it is beta. We were testing it over the weekend, and I still had a thoroughly enjoyable time out of it. So yeah, will make that comment right now. If you see anything that looks like lagging in the game, it's a mixture of my computer being one of the old cold run machines, but also it is beta and they were testing different ways of using their networking and internet code, so it did run to a little lag over the beta weekend, and yet everyone I know that played was actually thoroughly enjoying the game, so that just says enough, I think. Please, if you enjoyed the video, comment, rate and subscribe, and stay tuned for the actual gameplay footage which I'll be uploading of me and the crew. If you love the game, check out the links in the description, and yeah, pre-order. I mean, it's a fantastic game. I can't wait to start playing with you guys, and hopefully see you all on the adventure map where I can destroy you with the HMS Fireball. So yeah, thanks for watching the video, and hopefully see you again soon.